Yeah, the only person I had an interview with that, and to think about it to this day, I interviewed and he said some crazy shit about Diddy. Actually, no, I can't say this. Actually, I'll take that back. I take it back.
Pen. So you did interviews too, though. So what are the
Yeah.
top 5 most difficult interviews you've ever done?
Top 5 most difficult. I don't know if I've actually had any really difficult ones, man. Honestly.
Okay, or maybe not difficult, then most exciting.
Exciting? Definitely 50 Cent, but that was a round table interview I did with Stickman from Dead Prez.
Mhm.
Who else was in there? Joell Ortiz, because he was losing weight at that time. I actually did an individual interview with him about his weight journey and all that stuff. Who else? Who the hell else was in there? Uh, Shit, who just passed away? The MC, big dude, used to weightlift. Why? Chino XL, excuse me, RIP.
Right.
I interviewed him. Um, this was all one round table, and the idea was, why do we why do we put such like this like light and like almost like we're pushing people at times to be unhealthy in hip hop, right? Like, so I was looking at Biggie, at Pun, like why was weight looked at as like, oh, you like think of the names, dude. Fat Joe, Big Pun, Biggie. Why was being fat being looked at as like it's a cool thing in rap and is good for branding almost, right? I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it's interesting. So I think at the time I was looking at that going like, it's really interesting that a lot of these artists have these names and they're living unhealthy lifestyles. And if they aren't very obese and overweight, they're still having bad habits with drugs, alcohol, lots of women. It just interests me of like, where did this all come from and why do we praise it so much? And it's like, it's almost like we praised some of these rappers who are obese even more. So that was my questions and conversations to these guys. Why do you think it's like this? Being that all of the people I talked to were healthy, 50, always in good shape. Chino, monster, weightlifter. Stickman, vegan, very health conscious. Joell Ortiz, little overweight, wouldn't call him obese, little overweight, wanting to lose weight, was living a little unhealthy. Why? So we talked about it, man. And unfortunately, DX, from what I heard, scrubbed. They were sold and scrubbed their whole site. And every interview's gone now. I have my copies, of course, but it's gone. No one can go read it anymore. But talking with 50 was very interesting, man. The dude doesn't smoke weed, bro. He got a song
Right.
called I'm high all the time, but he doesn't smoke. He doesn't really drink. At least at that time, he wasn't. He was a
I mean, he
very
invested in vitamin water, like,
he's a health
early
conscious
on
dude.
because it was something that was healthier alternative than soda.
Yes, bro. So it's interesting to look at somebody talking about smoking weed and popping bottles in some of his songs, but he doesn't really do all that. He just knew, hey, man, that's what people want to hear, so I'm going to say it. And he's not shy about it either. I mean, he wrote a book. I have both of his books, 50 Laws of Power, as well as his workout. And I don't know if it's a cookbook, but has a lot of things to eat. And so I respect him for that. So I thought that I always try to do like interesting stories like that. I interviewed Lil Dicky early on too, because he's from Philly, actually. And I remember I was getting my hair cut, and my barber's like, yo, you heard of this rapper Lil Dicky from Philly? I was like, what? He's just like, Lil Dicky. I'm like, there's no way that's his name, bro. Are you fucking with me right now to say I've heard of a Little Dicky? Like, I thought it was a joke. And he's like, bro, I'm telling you, check this dude out. I'm like, he's spitting? He's like, kinda. I'm like, he's like, just watch him. I think you'll like him. So I checked him out. And this is way before he had like any monster buzz. Like, probably had a couple 100,000 views on his YouTube. And I'm like, this dude is amazing from a visual standpoint. Like, he's a visual artist, and hence why he's gone into acting now. Like, he's an actor, dude. Like, he is a visual. Like, no disrespect to him, but listening to his album and listening to or watching his music videos, night and day for me, bro. I don't drive around listening to the Little Dicky, but I can watch it because he's a visual artist and he's a
Well,
really
because
fun
he's
artist.
entertaining though.
That's what I mean. He's
He
more
he almost engineered that whole like I'm being entertained
yes.
musically and visually at the same time, right? That
Exactly. So I got to interview him very early on before a lot of people interviewed him. And it wasn't even because he was a rapper from Philly and I was biased. I just was like, this dude is doing some very interesting things. And he actually, in my interview, told me, he's like, I don't even want to be a rapper. I'm using rap to catapult my career into acting. And I was like, what? Again, I wish this interview was out, but you got to remember, like, now it's like, oh yeah, that's what he did. But it's like, he told me this like first year in his rap career. He told me this. So I would say like those types of interviews were some of my favorite because I got to talk to people who had plans and ideas that they said were going to happen and they happened. And then I talked to other people about cool things like just like health and hip hop and why hip hop's always had this like negative viewpoint on it about like being unhealthy is cool. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like the stuff I got. And I did a lot of lists. Like I wouldn't interview people, but we would make lists. Hey, what are the top 10 mixtape tracks that 50 Cent ever made? Dude, people like that's also when I realized that lists and things like that, dude, people love.
Right.
Love. And I can social media, you could put name your top 3 Biggie songs, bro, and there'd be 500 replies in 2 hours. Like, people love to tell you what they think is the best. So realizing that, I would build articles around it of like, okay, what is the best this? What is the best that? And I would pick weird numbers, like, here are the top 7 things, here are the top, 9 things. Like, instead of round numbers like 10 and 5, and I would try to be weird, so it'd be like 7 things. Like, what? Like, why do you pick the top 7 songs? Why not 10? Like, why not 5? Like, so just using stuff like that is how I would build articles, but I would pick shit that I would like. And then what else did I do? We just I had this idea back in the day to do these mixtapes every Friday in the summer, where it'd be a fresh new mixtape mixed down by a DJ that I work with named DJ No Frills from Philly. And then on top of it, it was called Grillin' and Chillin'. So it had all laid back, just smooth tracks, new tracks, some older tracks, but mainly like new stuff that was coming out. And then I hired my boy who was a chef, and he would just make me grilling recipes, and we would attach the grilling recipe and what you would need on the back end of the credits. So you have the cover of all the songs, and the back would be like, all right, this is how we're gonna make whatever barbecue ribs this weekend. This is, I don't know if anyone did it, but just like shit like that, dude. I was just trying to do like unique, cool things in my opinion back then, and that nobody else was really doing. So I did a handful of interviews. I wrote a handful of articles, probably upwards of like, total with interviews and articles on DX, maybe like 50, maybe 40. Like, it wasn't anything crazy compared to like the full-time writers. But you gotta remember, I was the social media person, community person. I was just like, let me do more. I can write stories. And so they let me. I remember I did one story, and it ended up becoming one of the biggest stories from Traffic of like, I don't want to say all time, but I think at least for that year. And they were like, okay, you can write. Like, I kinda had to earn my keep from the writing perspective, and I also didn't know how to write, so they had to edit the shit out of it, so I'm sure they weren't too happy about that. Like, "Oh, man, there's an extra editing we gotta do because this guy doesn't." I have no writing skills. The people writing at DX had, like, editorial degrees or writing degrees from schools. That's what they did for a living. So, anyhow,
What was Chino's vibe like?
he was mad cool, bro. Cheeto was super cool with me. Like, I don't know. I've never really heard anything negative about him, but with me personally, he was super cool. Very easy to talk to. Was very easy giving me like answers on stuff, was proactive about it, like wasn't like chasing him down like over and over and over again. From what I remember at least, like there was nothing negative whatsoever or anything bad. Everything was all good with him. Really all those people I talked to, I never got any of that.
That's
Um
dope, man.
yeah, the only person I had an interview with that, and to think about it to this day, I interviewed and he said some crazy shit about Diddy. Actually, no, I can't say this, actually. I'll take that back. I take it back.
Oh, you can't oh, man, the
No, I
people are
can't.
gonna be so I get it, though. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a legal problem. No,
Yeah, yeah. I
but
got
there
you.
was somebody who said some crazy shit about Diddy, and we're talking 15 plus years ago. And then after we're done, they hit me and we're like, "Yo, bro, you gotta take that shit out." I'm just like, "Damn!" So yeah, I can't say it. I shouldn't have brought it up,
Oh,
but I just
man.
remember that would have been a good one. But I don't know. It could ruffle some feathers.
I hear you.